What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Inkslasher, and welcome to another episode of Top 10 Emblems, the series where we look at the best emblems as submitted by you guys. So today we have 10 amazing emblems, and if you would like to submit your emblems or paint jobs to a future video, the way to do so is to send a high-resolution screenshot to @Inkslasher. And simply by doing that, you have a chance to get yourself featured on a future video. Now, as far as the top 10 emblems and top 10 paint job series goes, I'm kind of confused at the moment whether or not to make this a weekly or bi-weekly series. If you guys enjoy this kind of video and want to see it more often, the best way to show me is simply hitting that like button. The more likes this video gets, the more likely I am to continue on this series and do it more and more often. So, if you enjoy this kind of thing, all you have to do to show me is simply hit that like button, and that way I know you guys want to see more and more of these episodes. But without further ado, let me shut up and let's hop in to the top 10 emblems this week. Now, coming in at number 10, we have one sent in by the Lucario Project, and I think this one's actually pretty hilarious. Now, if you played Black Ops 4, specifically Zombies a whole bunch, you have definitely seen this screen before, because as on the screen you can see, it says, an error has occurred in the following application. It's the world-famous blue screen from PS4. Now, as frustrating as it is when this screen actually happens in-game, I do think the emblem's absolutely hilarious. On top of that, he did a good job with it. It looks exactly like the PS4 blue screen, even down to that little white band in the background, as you can see. So, well done, Lucario. Then up next at number 9, we have one sent in by Shadow Louie on Twitter, and this one, of course, is Majora's Mask. And I think this one looks absolutely incredible, nailed the colors, and looks exactly like it does in-game. Now, the only way I would really improve this one is by putting a background on it, but as you can see, he actually used 63 out of 64 layers, so it'd be kind of difficult to add a background in there as well. But all in all, it looks incredibly good, and like I said, it looks like it is directly out of the game, which is really impressive. Speaking of which, while we're talking about things that look like they're directly out of the game, here we've got one sent in by the Dan Man, and this is obviously the Master Sword, and this one looks incredibly good. It's amazing, and once again, he's only able to use that black background just because he's already used the 64 layers, but I really like how he has that blue shine coming off from around the sword, and like I said, it looks exactly as though this is right out of a Zelda game, and all in all, just really impressive, even down to the shading on the hilt and actual blade of the sword looks incredibly good too, and all in all, it comes together to look like an amazing Master Sword. After that, we have one sent in on Twitter by GamesToDeath_YT, and this is, of course, Morty from Rick and Morty. Now, if you haven't seen the TV show Rick and Morty, it's incredible, probably one of the best cartoons and one of my favorite cartoons, and this looks identical to Morty from the cartoon. Like I said earlier, how the other emblems look like they were straight out of the Zelda game, this looks like it's straight out of the cartoon. I really don't think you could do any better of a job than this. Really impressive. So, Games to Death, well done, man. Up next, coming in at number 6, we've got one by @NotFaltacito on Twitter. Sorry if I screwed up your name, man. But this is the first one of what I like to call the shadow emblems. Now, this is like a subset of emblems where people create emblems by using the light or the lack thereof. In other words, shadows. And this one, the example we're looking at here, is of a ninja.
This 4-player stream sniping.
No, not that type of ninja, you know, like the real type of ninja. But with this emblem, he did an incredibly good job just using a shadow to create the shape of the ninja on the moon. Looks really good. On top of that, he added to it by putting a texture on the moon, putting some clouds in front of it, and really all of these things put together create this really amazing emblem. This is one of my favorite subset of emblems. On top of that, they're actually a lot easier to make than normal emblems just because you don't have to use as much detail because the actual shape you're making is simply a shadow. You don't need any shading or anything like that. In this case, though, he used shading on the moon and clouds to, like I said before, bring the whole thing together. And if you ask me, it looks really amazing. After that, at the halfway point, we've got one sent in by Canales Josua. Once again, sorry if I butchered your name. I try my best here. But this one is of WALL-E, and this is something I haven't thought of in years. I absolutely love the movie WALL-E, but the one you're looking at here is not only of WALL-E, but also the other robot, Ava. And I thought he did a really good job of bringing this emblem all together. Not only does the background actually look like they're in space, on top of that, in the top right corner, they've got the actual WALL-E logo, which looks good alone. Plus, they added both of the robots with shading on both of them to make them look a little 3D. All in all, I just think he really did a good job of bringing an entire emblem all together, creating a really good theme, and it just looks all in all really good. After this, at number 4, we've got another example of the silhouette or shadow emblem that we talked about before. This one's by Wanchies90, I think I got your name right, and I really like this one for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's really tranquil. You can see the house on the lake, the guys in the boat fishing. As the moon comes up, it looks really good, but at the same time, I don't know what it is. For some reason, I find this one a little spooky. Maybe it's just me. You can let me know what you think down in the comments, but for some reason, I do. But I think this one really comes together. The sky looks really good. On top of that, you can see the trees without their leaves, guys fishing in his boat. All in all, like I said, I really do like these silhouette shadow emblems, and this is a great example of a full scenery made out of shadows, so that's why I like this one. After this, coming in at number 3, we've got one sent in by JakeBotBilly on Twitter, and this, of course, is Conker. Now, the Conker game that I played, of course, is Conker's Bad Fur Day. I played it on Nintendo 64. Absolutely one of my favorite games of all time. So many memories playing this as a kid, having friends over for sleepovers, and just playing this to all hours of the night. Really does bring back some memories. It was always between this game or James Bond that we'd be playing, but anyway, that's beside the point. Back to this emblem. This one's incredibly well done. Conker, obviously, as you can see in his face, has some really good shading, both on the eyes and in the jaw to really make him look 3D. Also, on top of that, it's such a small detail, but I love it. If you look at the helmet, you can actually see the Black Ops 4 logo on the helmet underneath the rope, which makes it look really, really good. And for some reason, what my head went straight to is Conker being brought into Black Ops 4 as a specialist character. Of course, that's not going to happen, but I just thought it was hilarious. Anyway, this emblem is absolutely very, very well done, and I think definitely deserves a spot on this list. Now, coming in at number 2, we've got one sent in by SIB Games, and this is, of course, SpiderMan, but the new SpiderMan from the new movie, SpiderMan Into the Spider-Verse. And this is, of course, not your normal Peter Parker. This is Miles Morales, which is just another version of Spider-Man. Now, if you haven't checked out the movie yet, I highly recommend it. It was actually one of my favorite movies of 2018, right up next to Infinity War, so I definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't already. Now, speaking of this emblem, an amazing, amazing emblem. The amount of detail and how similar it actually looks to the cartoon and the movie is incredibly well done. On top of that, the two things that I think really bring this together are, first of all, the texture on Spider-Man's mask, and then the background on top of it. It's a very simple background, but I really do think the opposition of the blue and red from the hoodie really bring this thing together and bring it to that next level. But speaking of next level and speaking of Spider-Man, coming in at number 1, we've got Spider-Man's dad, aka Stan Lee. So here we've got an incredible emblem by Babyfoot Emblems. This is probably one of the best emblems I have ever seen. Just simply the amount of detail and how much this actually does look like Stan Lee is absolutely incredible. Even down to the texture of his hair, the sunglasses, the smile. I don't know how he did it, but it looks exactly like him. And for those of you who live under a rock or ate rocks and don't know who Stan Lee is, he is basically the creator of Marvel Comics, the creator of Spider-Man, and really the reason why the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe exists today. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2018, but as you can see from even just this emblem, he's definitely a person who will be remembered for hundreds, if not thousands of years, maybe even forever. Anyway, guys, sorry to end on such a somber note. I just thought that emblem was absolutely incredible. But if another one was your favorite, feel free to let me know which one was yours down in the comment section below. On top of that, if you enjoy these type of videos, you like the top 10 emblems, top 10 paint jobs, and want to see more of them, the best way to show me is by simply hitting that like button. On top of that, if you would like to submit your emblem to a future video, as I mentioned before, you have to submit them to my Twitter. My Twitter link is down in the description, or you can simply send it to at Inkslasher. And just a reminder, guys, make sure the image that you send is a high-resolution screenshot, not just a picture taken with your phone over the screen. It doesn't look as good in that case, so just like I said, make sure it's a high-resolution screenshot and sent to my Twitter. But guys, if you like what you see here and want to stay up to date on all of my videos on my channel, the best way to do so is make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you have notifications turned on. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, guys, peace out.
Paradigm.